Reda and his shop is going to be playing a more prominent role in the Dawn of Ragnarok expansion this year, including new creative kill contracts, daily quests that actually encourage you to partake in this new Valkyrie arena for special rewards like Odin's armor set, and substantial weekly reset improvements to come. But first, let's take a look at Reda and his shop performance over the last year, because in its current state, it is an incredibly unbalanced reward system for players who continue to remain engaged in this live service mechanic. Now, in the Helix store in total, there's 599 items. 383 of those items have actually appeared in Reda's shop throughout the last 15 months, which works out to be 63% of the whole store. Now, this doesn't actually sound too bad, right? 63% of the store items appearing in-game for Opal Redemption throughout the year does sound pretty decent. The problem is, though, 57% of all of the items in the Helix store, so half of the store essentially, are actually made up of tattoos, naval skins, and settlement cosmetics. And guess what? They're the items that actually appear the most in Reda's weekly reset throughout the last year. But let's go a little bit deeper. On average per week over the last 15 months, we've had a 21% chance to pick up an armor piece and just an 11% chance to pick up a weapon in the weekly reset, comparatively to a 57% chance to get a tattoo, naval skin, or settlement cosmetic. And to round it all off, only a 9% chance to pick up a new mount or raven skin, which is quite imbalanced to say the least. Now, this is made even more contrasting when discussing the actual armor sets themselves. Let's say you're still engaged with Valhalla on a weekly basis and you've been saving your hard-earned opals for some of the most recent armor releases, such as the Werewolf or Jormungandr sets, which actually came out in August, and we're just going to use these as an example. Well, it looks like you're going to be waiting a long time, because we've only picked up one armor piece for each set since their release, and in fact that also applies to the High Elf and Dark Knight armor sets as well. Nothing from the Steampunk or Shinobi armor sets. So in total, only one piece of armor has actually been made available for purchase at Reda since their release in August. Now, I know I'm throwing a lot of numbers and info at you right here, but what does this actually mean, and does it actually matter? Well, I would argue yes, because this data is telling us that Reda's store isn't random at all. In fact, Dom, the community manager for Assassin's Creed, and he's a really top dude by the way, but he said to Yor last year on Twitter that the content is randomly selected from all available store items. However, there are some rules in place to ensure a better experience and guarantee the diversity of selection each week. Now, in all fairness, I think this is quite a contrasting statement to what is actually being said to what we're actually seeing in store and in game. It seems to me that this system isn't designed to ensure a better experience or guarantee the diversity of the selection of items, and I would be so bold to say that it is clearly designed to prevent newer Helix items entering Reda's circulation en masse if they are performing well in the Helix store financially. So I would politely disagree with the sentiment that this Reda shop is built around a transparent random loot drop system where a tattoo scheme and a new armor set piece are considered equal in the eyes of this Reda reset, because they are clearly not. Incidentally, the modern day and Valkyrie armor sets were fully released into Reda's shop within 3 months of their release and have actually appeared in the weekly reset in some cases up to 5 times, as you can kind of see here on your screen, which I think dilutes the value of the Reda mechanic itself and bolsters the idea that we have received more armor pieces than we actually really have per weekly reset. To me, that suggests that they haven't performed well in the store and they're no longer making money. So I imagine the decision was made internally to distribute these low performing sets into game quickly to give the impression of good value to the player, which makes sense from a business point of view, to be fair. So I raise the question, what is the actual point of completing your Reda dailies and weeklies, working hard to accumulate your opals, if you've only had the opportunity of purchasing one armor slot item out of the most recent 6 Helix armor sets in the last 6 months? That actually works out as 4 individual armor pieces in total spread across the 6 new armor sets, comparatively to the 55 settlement cosmetics, 70 tattoos, and 65 naval schemes released at Reda's shop in the same time window. That doesn't really seem balanced or diversified to me. Now, to be clear, this video isn't here to bash Ubisoft via the Reda shop. I actually enjoy Valhalla. This is the reason why I make these videos. I want it to improve, and I'm very much looking forward to 2022. In fact, you could argue that the Helix store funds free content like the Cassandra crossover, which was really good fun, and because of that, maybe to you, this Reda imbalance isn't actually a big deal. Now, I do recognise that side of the coin, but still would like to see it improved and become a more rewarding mechanic for Valhalla regulars, and I'm going to talk about what's changing for Reda in 2022 in just a moment. I actually do think it looks positive, but before we do, in my 10 changes we want video I made back in September, I proposed having a fixed weekly Reda slot option where we're guaranteed at least 2 armor set pieces and 1 weapon slot slot every week, with these new slots prioritizing newer released items to balance out the current imbalance which we quite clearly have at present. I think this would be a very easy win for Ubisoft within the community, as it would reward their highly engaged player base who log on to Valhalla every week with newer items. Now, I'm also not saying that Ubisoft should start giving away their brand new armor sets for free in the first couple of weeks of release here. Let's actually be realistic. But using a carrot on the stick reset with your newer armor sets, especially in the last 6 months, is not the way, in my opinion, to incentivize and drive weekly engagement in your only live service mechanic at present. But come to think of it, perhaps I am being a little bit naive here, and it is actually the most effective way to encourage people to buy the armor set directly instead of kind of waiting months for it to drop. And business-wise, it makes sense to implement this method. However, I subscribe to the notion that if you look after your player base, they're going to look after you financially and otherwise. Now, that aside, I do just want to mention that all of this data was painstakingly recorded by Nico and Matt Lombardi in our awesome Discord community. So our big thanks go out to them for providing us with this no-nonsense factual info. So please do leave a like on the video to show your support for their work, and the invite link to our Discord community is pinned in the comments down below. So hopefully see you in there after this video. So I think we now have a good idea of the current state of the Reda mechanic in Valhalla, and it's not in great shape, but we have just picked up the recent broken blade weapons in the Reda store, so some optimism here, I say. Perhaps we are on the up. But additionally, Jose Ariza, post-launch producer of Valhalla, did say to JorRaptor in an interview on July the 31st that we will see improvements to Reda, but only in the long term. Now, link to yours video is of course down below in the description, do check that out. But at the time of uploading this video, that was approximately half a year ago, and before the Ragnarok DLC was officially announced. So I think we can firmly say that Ragnarok and beyond is what Jose meant by long term. So we're moving into that Reda improvement window now, or perhaps it's slowly being rolled out already. Now, this makes sense because our community Yoms Viking Pedder has found a wealth of information in the game files which gives us more of an idea of the type of improvements and changes we can expect to see at Reda going forward, and that begins with the Reda contracts that are spread across the 3 regions of Svartalfheim. Pedder has found an updated map here which seems to now contain some sort of city in its center, which is where Reda is believed to be situated, with his 3 dwarven Reda informants also mentioned in the game files that could be assumed as being located in each of the 3 regions, which are named as Vangrin, Gulnamar and Haladin. Now, regarding this map, Ubisoft have officially stated that Svartalfheim will be a third the size of England, so it makes sense to have these dwarven operatives dishing out Reda quests in each region, as they're going to be fairly large to navigate around in. And as for these new contracts, Pedder has found a total of 31 named so far, which seem to be implemented in Svartalfheim, and an additional 12 for England, which sounds very promising. I'm actually going to put up all the full list of all of the contracts on your screen right now. Of course, our thanks go out to Pedder for finding these, so you can have a screenshot or have a perusal in your own time. Obviously, do remember these are all subject to change, folks. Do bear that in mind, but there seems to be a concentrated effort by Ubisoft here into expanding the variety of different contracts going forward, and not just having us rinse and repeat the same wolf or boar over and over again, and I think that's a positive. Some good examples of this are the new creative Reda contracts, where we'll have to kill 10 enemies in a non-lethal way, or alternatively kill another 10 enemies with fire without actually using burning arrows nor fire weapons, and finally killing an additional 10 enemies again, but this time with full damage. So it seems that we're going to be having to use the environment or perhaps Odin powers and abilities to be able to actually complete these contracts, which I definitely welcome. Now, there's an additional Reda integration here though, and that is Reda providing us with separate daily challenges, that being the daily Valkyrie Arena challenge. I actually did a full breakdown on the Valkyrie Arena in this video on your screen right now, which I'll link at the end of this one if you're interested. But in short, we're going to be earning Valorite tokens by partaking in arena challenges that we can actually spend at Kara's Valkyrie shop for rewards, such as the Odin's All-Father armor set. Now, a bit of speculation from me here, but could this arena daily in Svartalfheim be subsequently mirrored in England? So JorRaptor was actually informed by Ubisoft that gear earned from Svartalfheim will transfer over back into England. So could the same daily arena challenge apply here as well? I think it kind of makes sense because Hildirin's name may be a variation of the name Hilda, who was actually a Valkyrie in Norse mythology. Conversely, Kara is an actual Valkyrie noted in Norse mythology and is of course the one running the arena here in Svartalfheim. So we've got 2 Valkyries potentially here. Both do have an arena and a shop at their disposal, so it's definitely food for thought there. Now, a side note here, Reda's backstory, he's appeared in Origins, Valhalla and now Svartalfheim. Svartalfheim, and Ubisoft continue to remain purposefully ambiguous on what he's all about. I still think he's an Abstergo agent jacked into the Animus with the intention of remaining neutral for observation purposes only, but I definitely want to hear your theories in this down below. What do you think Reda's all about? Keen to hear your thoughts. And by the way, if you've reached this point in the video and enjoyed it so far, do click the subscribe button for more content just like this. I'm going to be covering everything new for Valhalla in the lead up to the Ragnarok DLC, and it is the best way to find your way back to the channel very easily. Our big thanks go out to Nico, Matt, Pedder, Jabak and Donut, Kev, and all of the Reloads members for your support and help. You're all the best, and these videos most certainly are not possible without you, so thank you very much. Also, do check out more Valhalla videos. They should be popping on your screen right now if you like this one. And as usual, coffee is of course on me. I'll catch you in the next video.